A very important day in the history of the Buffalo Bills. A very important day in the history of the Thomas Take Sports Podcast. I'm Ryan Thomas. Thank you so much for tuning in to the show. And what a day it has been. It has been a whirlwind of a day for Josh Allen. It has been a whirlwind of a day for the Buffalo Bills. And it has been a whirlwind of the day, of a day, I should say, for Bills Mafia. And Sean McDermott in particular, and everybody involved that roots for, that wants to see this team finally check off that ultimate box of winning a Super Bowl. And I would say that, to me, November 7th, 2022 is a day that will live in infamy for me, for this show, for my quote-unquote media stuff, career, whatever you want to call it. This show, the crusade that I've been on the last 6 years in terms of trying to entertain the masses, trying to keep the people informed, trying to keep the people aware of what's going on at One Bills Drive. That's all I've tried to do in the process of starting this podcast 6-7 years ago now. I'm losing count. I lost count of how many years I've been doing this. And over the years, I've had the opportunity, because of this podcast, because of this crusade, as I like to say, to put my own twist on sports media, that I've had the opportunity to meet a lot of great people, and those people have helped me along the way. I didn't just, start doing this for the fun of it. I did this to break in and to try to meet new people and to try to put my spin on things. And with that, I got to go out and I have to find the information. And I was quick and calculated in doing so. And I found critical information that no one was really willing to attach their name to. There was some people out there saying, there's some news out there, there's this, there's that. No one was actually saying what the injury was with Josh Allen in particular. What was the ligament? What was the damage? And I'm not saying this to my own horn, because this was information that I asked and I shall receive. So you don't get anything without asking for it, right? Kid wants a cookie from the cookie jar. He asks his mom, he asks his dad. Well, I asked blank blank what the news was on Josh Allen's injury, and that person told me what the news was, and I put the news out there of what the news was. I'm not saying I was the only person to do it, but I was one of the very few people that was scrutinized for doing it, which I don't understand, but maybe those people that are critical don't really see me as a valid source of information just yet. And that's okay. I will earn the right to be that valid source of information, just like I have time and time and time again. Those that have been sticking with me since the beginning, those that have known me since the beginning, know that I don't just say things to say them. I mean what I say what I mean, whether it's my opinion or whether it's news. There's no difference. Covering the area, whether it's sports, covering the area, whether it's news, political or not, in my other escapades, my other gigs, if you will, I try to be as informed and as intelligent as I possibly can. I represent myself pretty well. Try to, at the very least. So, woke up earlier today, heard the news that Josh Allen suffered a UCL injury. And what is a UCL injury? What exactly is a UCL injury? I'm not a doctor. I don't have a PhD. I'm not a surgeon. I'm not a scientist. I'm just a regular guy that noticed after the game, during the game and after the game, that Allen was definitely hurt. And it was an injury that I was familiar with based on seeing people have this injury in sports, whether it's football, whether it's baseball, or not. So I'm going to take your comments, too, on this all show long. And I want to let you guys know the Thomas Take Sports Podcast is available on all major podcasting platforms. whether it's Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify. You can listen to it audio-wise. A lot of people like to watch the show. The views on my YouTube channel have been killing it. The YouTube Shorts, 60 seconds is all I need to spit out a hot take or to inform the people. Within 60 seconds, I can do that. Fire away your comments. Let me know how you're feeling about this news that ultimately I tweeted at 1:46. Chris Mortensen, Adam Schefter, they tweeted at 7:40. And I'm not saying I'm better than those guys, but what I am saying is, in this hotbed of Buffalo, I know who to contact and I know who not to contact. And I contacted the right person, and I got the right information that I was looking for, the information that I feared, and I really appreciate the information from this person that didn't have to give me the information that they gave me, that could have just turned a blind eye, but they didn't, because they respect what I'm doing, they appreciate what I'm doing, and I appreciate them for appreciating me, and it didn't take them appreciating me for me to appreciate them. It's called friendship. So something that is very, very sacred in the business of any business, whether it's sports, media, whether it's real estate, you name it, obviously it matters. So let's get to the nitty-gritty of this show. I put out a joke that, those that didn't believe in this post that I put out need to sign an apology form. You don't need to sign an apology form. Just tune in, enjoy the ride. It's not stopping anytime soon. We're going around and round. Nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills, and nobody wants to help inform the people of Buffalo or beyond Buffalo of what's going on at One Bills Drive more than this guy. Nobody on the independent scene wants to help inform the people as much as I do. I know that. So, what exactly is a UCL injury? This is the ulnar collateral ligament. The ulnar collateral ligament of the elbow is most often injured by repeated stress from overhead movement. This motion is common in sports that involve throwing, such as baseball and javelin, as well as football. The ligaments are strong bands of tissue that hold bones together and help control the movement of joints. Why am I telling all this fancy schmancy stuff on the show today? Because not many people know how severe this injury actually is. Ligament serves as a tether between the bones. When the ligament is torn, the tether is too long and the bones move too much. This leads to pain, instability, or looseness, and an inability to work or play sports. The ulnar collateral ligament complex is located on the inside of the elbow. It is attached on one side to the humerus and on the other side to the ulna. The humerus is the bone of the upper arm, and the ulna, a bone in the forearm. The UCL consists of 3 bands or divisions: the anterior, front, posterior, back, and transverse across bands. The anterior band is the most important for the elbow stability of the elbow. This type of injury has led me to so many thoughts over the course of this day that I have a lot of takes on this. Some of which you'll be able to jot down and understand, and some of which you're going to say, that's interesting. That's a quote-unquote conspiracy theory, maybe. But I have a theory on an injury like this with Josh Allen, and here it is. My theory on the ulnar collateral ligament, the UCL injury that Josh Allen suffered. That injury, that moment in the game yesterday, the second to last play of the game, in which Allen drops back, he's got a defensive end right on him, he throws the ball is trying to be whacked out of his hands, they're trying to whack it out of his hands, his arm moving forward kind of does this drag forward, where there's hesitation in the arm because the arm is moving as fast as it can forward, but it's being stopped, it's being short-circuited. Allen's shaking the arm out, holding his forearm, grabbing his elbow, and then he had to throw another pass, which is a bomb of a pass, which probably was extremely painful for Josh Allen. But that one moment, in my opinion, could not have possibly completely damaged that UCL. In terms of what John Adam Schefter, Chris Mortensen have reported, and based on what, what I was going with that, Johns Hopkins has stated as far as the ulnar collateral ligament injury, the UCL injury, is that this is from repeated stress to that area. And that is what has me so concerned about this. This type of injury doesn't happen necessarily on just the force of a defensive end stripping a football out of somebody's hand. Granted, it didn't help it. But my theory is that this elbow has been worn down by repeated throwing at a high velocity, repeated twisting of that arm, turning of that elbow, that this elbow has had prior issues before. And literally, when I say that, it dawns on me that back in 2018 in Allen's rookie season, the Bills are playing the Houston Texans in Houston. A guy by the name of Jadeveon Clowney. Josh Allen fired the football. His elbow came down right on Jadeveon Clowney's helmet. And he was out for over a month. Derek Anderson, you remember that guy? Derek Anderson had to take Allen's spot for a month after Allen was hurt his rookie season. These elbow injuries haven't popped up again. Allen's worn protection on his arms. I can even look at this canvas and see that Allen's got far more protection on his right arm than he does on his left arm. Granted, it's his throwing arm, but he had an injury there. I'm just using that as an example. I'm looking at it right now. It dawns on me that, Allen's got more protection on his right arm than he does on his left. Why is that? Is there a reason for that? Granted, as I said, this could potentially be speculation on my part. It's a theory for a reason. I'm not saying that this is fact, but it's a theory for a reason. It's a plausible theory that based on how much Allen throws the football, based on how deep he can throw the football and how hard he can throw the football, that elbow was wearing down prior to this injury. That's just a theory. That's all that is. I'm not saying that's factual. It's just a theory. Hence, my theory on Josh Allen's injury and potentially how it could have happened. I had a lot of thoughts today on this injury. And my thoughts went from, wow, where do the Bills go from here? That's the million-dollar question right now as it stands at One Bills Drive. Because Ian Rappaport puts out a tweet that, with all due respect, makes zero sense to me. Makes no sense whatsoever. And that tweet is that this injury is a real thing, but it's a minor injury. And that the Bills are going to look at the elbow, test the elbow via the tests that Johns Hopkins recommends, which is stress tests of the elbow, checking to see what the elbow can withstand over the course of this next week or so. So, in terms of how it's treated, the only way it's treated is rest, over-the-counter anti-inflammatory medications, ice, and then physical therapy. And physical therapy is the biggest part of really any rehabilitation towards an injury. But the rehabilitation can take 9 months to a year if it's torn. We don't know if it's a tear. That we don't know yet. We don't know if it's a tear. We know it's a sprain, as rumors by Ian Rappaport, Adam Schefter, Chris Mortensen, they have said that the testing, they believe it's a sprain. There could be potential nerve damage. So this is they're going to test to see the nerve damage if possible. They're going to test to see if it's more than a sprain. If it's a tear, we know that it's sore, because Josh Allen said so himself as early as 4 o'clock after that game. First thing he said when he sat down in the media scrum is that, man, my elbow's sore. Not word for word, but I'm sore. That he did say. I'll get through it, but I'm sore. And the part that's really frustrating for me is over the course of the day, I put something out that I think is very fair. It's a very fair assessment in terms of where we're at. Where I'm at, not where we are at, because we are not in the same spot. A lot of Bills fans disagree with me on this, and I don't care. I'm saying this because I'm saying it. This is my opinion. My show, I say the opinion. You guys agree and disagree, and I listen to your opinions as well. It's dialogue, right? This minor injury, in the words of Ian Rappaport, would never need daily further evaluation, in the words of Ian Rappaport, if in fact it was minor. If it was minor, then it's one that you monitor in the sense that, okay, we know he's hurt, he's not going to practice this week. We're going to give him the week off of practice so that he's prepared mentally, just as much as physically, for the game this Sunday against the Minnesota Vikings, who have won, 6 straight or something like that. It's very tough for me to keep track of the Minnesota Vikings, but they're a good team this year. They're doing really well. This is a throwing elbow of a quarterback that we're talking about. If he plays this week, he could get injured even worse. That's the point, is that where do the Bills go from here? If Josh Allen plays, he could get hurt even worse. You don't play with fire when you're talking about a guy that has literally been the savior of this franchise. The savior, whether they've won a Super Bowl or not. This team behind me was irrelevant for over 2 decades. Granted, were they irrelevant to me? No. Were they relevant to you, the diehard fans, the Bills Mafia? No, they were not. But Josh Allen made this team relevant again. Josh Allen made this team great again. And if you are going to put him back out there at 50%, his skills put him at above, 20 quarterbacks at 50%. But he's at 50%. Why risk this guy? Why risk putting him back out there to get hurt, potentially even worse, if in fact, even if the injury is minor, in the words of Ian Rappaport, I don't think it is minor, because a minor injury would need further tests. They're seeing something that a minor evaluation won't show. They're hearing something from Allen, from the injury itself, feeling it, seeing it, hearing it, whatever you want to look, however which way you want to look at it. The response of these tests is not where they want it to be. And if that's the case, this is not a minor injury. I would never even say that this is a minor injury, because it's not. And this is my next point. The Bills have had injuries this whole season. Micah Hyde out for the year. Had a herniated disc in his neck. He's out for the season. His playing career was really up in the air. He's trying to get another opinion, whether as far as he can play this year within his playing career. He can't. He's out. He's going to be on a long road to recovery that will probably, God willing, make him ready for next season, but you don't know what you're going to get back with an injury like that. Tre'Davious White tore his ACL last year. They've been nursing him along. If this team had 0 corners on it, he probably still wouldn't play with the approach that they've taken with him, because they know that he's not ready cardiovascular-wise based on the amount of time that he's missed. They know that the position of corner forces you to be out on the field all day long, running around, trying to cover the fastest dudes on planet Earth, especially within the sport of football, trying to catch a guy like Tyreek Hill, trying to catch a guy like Jalen Waddle, Garrett Wilson. We know what he can do after yesterday. Those are just the guys in the division. They have nursed Trey White along. They should do the same for the guy that they've invested hundreds of millions of dollars in, that is their quarterback. Trust me on this. I hate that I'm having this conversation. I wish that I was not here in this moment right now talking about this. This is the last topic that I want to talk about when talking about my Buffalo Bills. I want to talk about how the hell the Bills are going to bounce back from that loss to the New York Jets with Josh Allen and company, fully healthy, ready, raring, and revved for this game. And instead, I'm talking about the prospects of the Buffalo Bills being without Josh Allen for the next month, at least. And that's not panic. That's realistic. Being realistic. Being real. Being honest about how I'm feeling about this. This irks me when I'm being told that I'm panicking. I'm panicked. The quarterback, the guy that's brought this team to its relevancy that it is at today, is badly hurt. And it's kind of an important area for him to continue the future of his playing days in the National Football League. God willing, I'm having this conversation with you guys and gals out there, and you guys come back to me and say, Ryan, you were overzealous, you were over panicked, Josh Allen's back playing. Even so, if Josh Allen is out there, I'm still worried about this. This will be low-hanging fruit. This will be hanging over my head. Whatever phrase, whatever analogy you want to use, this is going to bug me greatly. That Josh Allen is not at 100%. Case Keenum, quarterback 2, he started a lot of games in the NFL. He started for a few teams in the NFL. I think in this situation, I would roll with Case Keenum for this week. I would roll with Case Keenum for this week and just know that we're going to take this evaluation of this Ian Rappaport's opinion, minor injury, week to week. We're going to take this minor injury seriously is what we're going to do, because this guy means a hell of a lot to this team, a hell of a lot to this city, a hell of a lot to the game for that matter. Let's take the Buffalo Bills out of it for a minute. Let's take Josh Allen as a draw, just like you'd take, Conor McGregor as a draw, or Israel Adesanya as a draw, or Tyson Fury as a draw. Josh Allen as a draw. He puts asses in the seats. Why the Buffalo Bills would throw out a guy that is their future, that is their captain, that is their present, that is their savior, with a bad throwing elbow would be a grave, grave mistake just to win one game. I'm talking we start Case Keenum for this week, and then we further evaluate the situation from there. If he's not ready the week after that, we further evaluate the situation from there. If he's not ready the week after that, we further evaluate the situation from there. No timetable on his return. Because that's all people need to know. Is he playing or is he not? They don't need to know how long he's going to be out. They don't need to prolong this pain. Let's take the pain week to week. I'd prefer that, to be honest with you, than have them say, hey, he's out 5 to 6 weeks. Case Keenum, lock and load. Get ready, buddy. Case Keenum, woo, let's go. No. Tell me Allen's out this week. Case Keenum's in this week. Next week, Allen's out this week. I don't need to know the schedule ahead, knowing that Case Keenum is starting every one of those games the next 5 to 6 weeks. That to me is agony. That's the definition of a slow death. Figuratively, not literally. Oh, man. So let's get to the comments here. John Travers says, you're doing a great job. I really appreciate that, John. I try. I had a gentleman by the name of Kim Ed Gilmore, or Kilgore, I'm sorry. Kim Ed Kilgore. Ed Kilgore, Channel 2 News, sportsman, sports director for a long time. A guy that I've looked up to, a guy that many have looked up to, and a guy that I still and always will look up to based on what he has done throughout his career and for this area in Buffalo sports. He's had an awesome career, and we have great conversations. we're acquaintances as far as, social media friends and everything like that. Common mutual friends, I guess you could say, too. And he enjoys my stuff, and I've enjoyed his stuff. He's somebody that I've looked up to, right? And we were going back and forth as to whether or not I was overdoing this, whether I was panicking too much. I don't know what he was thinking as far as what I was thinking, what I was saying. He felt like I was pushing this narrative too much that the Bills quarterback, situation is not that scary, and how do I know what I know? And I'm not affiliated with a media outlet. I'm my own media outlet. I got my own company. I got my own brand, and I'm affiliated with a lot of great people that I would define as sources of information that I can rely on, that I can ask information, ask them for information, I should say, and they give it to me, and then I put it on my stuff. Say, hey, can I run with this? Is this good to run with? Am I jumping the gun, running with? No, this is very valid information. They're very worried that it's a UCL injury and he could miss a substantial amount of time. Not my words. Words that were told to me and words that I then speak back. So that happens where, I hear something and then I put it out there, and because I'm not Adam Schefter, I'm not Chris Mortensen, I'm just a guy in his office on a stream talking about the Buffalo Bills. But come to find out, I'm a little bit more than that in terms of my ability to research and find out information. And I'm not saying it to toot my own horn. I'm saying it so that you guys can understand that I found this from the right place. So when I put something out, I don't just put it out for the fun of it. I put it out to let you guys know, to keep you guys informed. And yes, it does help the show when I'm informed. And I should be informed. If I want to be doing this, I should be as informed as anybody. I appreciate the feedback, positive or negative. But in this instance, those people were wrong and I was right. In this instance, this was a situation that I hit the nail on the head. I'll admit when I'm wrong. I was wrong that Phil Housley was going to be a good fit for the Sabres. I was wrong. I can name a lot of times I was wrong. I was wrong that Ryan O'Reilly was going to spend the rest of his NHL career here. That didn't happen. Right? So I'm not always right. I'm not going to say I'm always right, but I try to be as informed as I possibly can be. Nobody can deny that. So, with that being said, this is a situation that is fluid. Sean McDermott said they're going to evaluate it each and every week, or that they're going to evaluate it this Tuesday, and then, they are essentially going to be evaluating it each and every week. That's what teams do in these situations, but to me, I think this is one that you really have to tread carefully. You are literally playing with fire in terms of this situation. If Josh Allen's back out there on Sunday, I am, somewhat turning a blind eye to the potential that we are screwed. If this guy gets hurt even worse than he already is. If Bills fans feel like we're screwed now, I don't blame them. But if Bills fans feel like we have a chance to see Allen play through this injury, I think you're crazy. I really do. I think that you're out of your ever-loving mind to think that Josh Allen should be out there with this elbow injury playing like Josh Allen. Josh Allen's game is not sustainable. That's the biggest criticism that I have. He's so good at all the things he can do that it's not a sustainable game. The longevity of Josh Allen in comparison to a Tom Brady, night and day. I said that 5 years ago. That, yeah, this dude's athletic as hell. He's big and strong. He can throw it. He can hit a tack on a wall. The dude's so accurate. The dude is accurate. But there are reasons to believe that this injury pre-existed prior to this moment in this game. In the 5 years that we've watched Josh Allen play this game for our Buffalo Bills, I had never seen Josh Allen throw the passes that I saw prior to this injury. And I'm talking passes that looked like the arm just wasn't really there, looked like he couldn't overcompensate the way he normally does in terms of an awkward throw. These interceptions rolling to his right, his dominant side. He's having issues with that. He never had issues with that before. Was this injury pre-existing this moment in this game? Was he not really feeling it yet until that moment in the game? That is a theory, and I think it's a really good one. Really good one. And I got a lot of awesome comments on here, and I'm going to get to all of them. So Gene Hoffman says, so if that person has the answers, what's the outcome, the verdict? What does it mean going forward? The outcome and the verdict, that's what this show is based on, Gene. The outcome and the verdict. I'm speculating on what I would do. What I would do if I was Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane and Terry Pagula and Kim Pagula, if given this situation on my desk, I would sit Josh Allen for as long as it takes to get him back to 100%. I would not play with fire. I would put him on the bench. Let Case Keenum play against his old Minnesota Vikings. If in fact we lose that game, at worst we're 6-3, which is a pretty damn good record. Then you look at the schedule beyond that, week to week. Take this week to week. The timetable for this injury, worst case scenario, what I was told is 5 to 6 weeks. That's what I was told this morning when I was told that this injury was feared to be a reality. 5 to 6 weeks. You could say, season's over. Season's never over until it's over. Trust me on that. We didn't think we'd make the playoffs in 2017 with Tyrod Taylor and without Sammy Watkins and without a lot of these players that Ronald Darby and all those guys that we traded away, but we did. The season's never over, and I'm not trying to be cliche. I'm not trying to be overly positive and biased, but the season's never over. This defense is ridiculously good. The guys on the offense are still there. Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis is the best supporting cast that Case Keenum's ever had. Holy hell. I mean, come on. Vikings, Browns, Lions. That's not a bad stretch for Case Keenum. Vikings, Browns, and Lions. That's not a bad stretch. It's really not. Case Keenum could be playing against two of his former teams back-to-back in the Vikings and the Browns. And the Detroit Lions are one of the worst teams in the NFL. Then you got New England, and then you got the Jets. It would essentially put Josh Allen out for the month of November because the Vikings, November 13th, the Browns, November 20th. Then you got Thanksgiving, the Lions, November 24th. And then you have December 1st, the Buffalo Bills and the New England Patriots in Foxborough. Prime time. You know what prime time is? That's Josh Allen time, baby. Woo! So 3 weeks. 3 weeks. Best case scenario, worst case scenario, 5 to 6. I have the DMs. I will show them. I will not reveal who it was that told me this information, but I have the DMs. You guys can hate all you want, but it is what it is. I try to stay informed as I possibly can, as informed as I possibly can. So let's get to some more comments here before I say something I might not regret. Most commonly associated with Tommy John at worst case per Doug Clark. And that's where I feel that is, I think a Tommy John surgery with a UCL tear is so common because baseball, those guys are throwing the baseball 95 to 100 miles an hour. The circumference of a baseball compared to a football we know is different, and the way the body is rotated on a mound to throw the baseball is very different from the level playing field that you're playing on in the sport of football. I think with that, it's far more common to see these UCL injuries in baseball than it is with football. But when you have an athlete that defies mechanics, defies logic in terms of his ability to throw the football, the power that he has, this guy had a 99 throwing power in Madden. Jokes aside, there's a reason for that. The ratings adjusters, they're at the practices, they're at the training camps. I've met a few of them. They're there. They're ready to adjust the ratings based on what they see. Those guys even knew that Josh Allen had a hell of an arm. He's a 99 throwing power in Madden. I'm being facetious, but you get the point. You get the point. So, see a lot of awesome people hopping on. I really appreciate it. Sean Reeves says, Cam Newton hate me. I don't care. I don't hate you, Sean, but I'll pass. I'll pass on Cam Newton. I don't think Cam Newton's got it anymore. I really don't. I think that's the one thing we do know is that Cam Newton doesn't have it anymore. You know what's the worst part about this, too? And I thought this as well. The worst part about this is that this happened week 9, right? This happened week 9 to where if the Buffalo Bills, if this happened, right? If this happened, let's just say week 6. They're playing Kansas City. They're winning the game, and Allen gets dinged on the elbow, and they still find a way to win the game, but he's hurt. And then they roll into the bye week, and then they roll into Green Bay. You would have felt confident starting Case Keenum against Green Bay. I'd feel confident starting Johnny Manziel at this point against the Green Bay Packers. Jokes aside, I might not be joking. That's how bad the Packers are. But you'd feel confident in starting, a backup against Green Bay. Then you'd have the Jets, and maybe Allen would be back by then because he would have been out, a couple weeks or whatnot. But maybe not. You start Case Keenum against the Jets, you still lose. Now you have Allen for the Vikings at a better chance because he's been out a little bit longer, resting, and whatnot. Or Allen's hurt prior to when he actually gets hurt like against Kansas City. Like I mentioned, Case Keenum plays like garbage, and you have a chance to actually make a trade for a quarterback to put you in a better spot. It's not like there aren't guys out there that wouldn't want to play for this team in the wake of a Josh Allen injury. And that's out the window because it's past the trade deadline. Now, Case Keenum's all you got. He's the best chance that you have to win. Matt Barkley is not that guy that can be the backup to Josh Allen. I think Matt Barkley would even agree to that. But Case Keenum started for a few teams in this league: Denver, Minnesota, Cleveland, the Rams, and he's won a lot of games as a starter in this league. He's won a lot of games as a backup, frankly, in this league. So he's probably one of the better backups that are out there. But this is a horrible, horrible scenario that we all dreaded as the worst case scenario possible for this team. I'm definitely not on the Cam Newton train. I'm good with that. That's just I can't even think of that, to be honest. Sean says we will have to watch all the games and see if the injury occurs on a play before last Sunday's game. I'm telling you, I'm not sure when it could have occurred, but if I was a guessing man as far as what we've seen, based on what we've seen, I would say that the last 6 quarters is like the cliche that everybody's been talking about. The last 6 quarters, Josh Allen has not looked like the same person. Like, literally person. Not player, but he hasn't looked like the same person. He hasn't acted like the same guy off the field. He hasn't acted like the same guy on the field. I think this injury was lingering. I don't think anyone knew it. I don't even think Josh Allen knew it, to be honest. There are times where I had injuries in my sports days that I did not know I had, and I just kind of got used to feeling the way I did, and then things would happen. And I'd be like, whoa, that was that bad? I didn't know that. I'd even go to today where, like, not as recently as today, I mean in present day, where, I'm throwing the ball around and just playing catch, and I'm like, oh man, my shoulder's so bad from football, baseball, wrestling, that there's times where when it rains outside, my knee hurts, my shoulder hurts, my elbow hurts. Part of that is getting a little older, on the wrong side of 30, not on the wrong side of, well, technically, athletically, I'm on the wrong side of 30, but these things happen. The human body is a very tricky thing. I really feel that you guys got some good comments coming on here. This is probably one of the best shows I've ever done as far as comments goes. I really appreciate it. I will say this too. I will say, in terms of the opposition, this division, the AFC East, is as good as it's been in a long, long time. And that's a topic that, people go to battle with me on, for whatever reason. I don't know why. Like, people think that I'm just a Dolphins hater or a Jets hater. I'm not. Both of those teams are very good. The Patriots aren't. I mean, they got a great coach still. BB is there. He's on the sideline. He's going for George Halas's all-time wins record, for heaven's sake. The guy just won't go away, much like his former quarterback Tom Brady. But the Jets are great based on their defense, based on their turnover-free football. When they blitz the quarterback, when they win the turnover battle, and when they run the football, man, that's a recipe for victory. If they can accomplish that, they'll continue to win games. The Miami Dolphins have probably one of the best wide receiver duos that I've seen in recent memory, dating back to, like, Jerry Rice and T.O. I mean, they got some really good receivers with Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. I don't think Tua's great. I don't think Tua's as great as the Dolphins fans that are drinking the Tua Great Kool-Aid, but I think he's pretty good. He's proven that he's pretty good with those receivers. The only concern I have about the Dolphins is their defense. And their defense played really well against Buffalo week 3. Shut it down in the 180-degree heat. But it's almost as if ever since their defense has not looked that great, and they know that. They went out and got a big trade piece in Bradley Chubb because they know that they don't have what they need. They don't have what Buffalo has. They don't have a defense that can pressure with just front four pressure. They need to have outside pressure as well as the front four pressure. Buffalo doesn't need that. So I'm just saying that as an example. Von Millers don't grow on trees. Not every team can get one. And Miami went out and got a version of a Von Miller and Bradley Chubb, a guy that played alongside Von Miller for a few years, and a guy that was drafted in the same draft class nonetheless as Josh Allen. So how that move will impact their defense remains to be seen, but I think they need more work than that. And I think they desperately need a lot of guys to come back, especially in their secondary, and how that pans out really dictates what's going to happen with Miami's season. There is no team out there right now that has set themselves apart from another team in NFC or AFC. No one that I think leads me to believe that, oh yeah, that's sustainable. The Philadelphia Eagles, 8-0. I don't know if that's gonna last. I don't know if the Philadelphia Eagles will even be in the NFC Championship game. I'm not saying that I don't believe in them, but I certainly didn't expect this. I certainly didn't expect the Philadelphia Eagles to put up the effort that they have thus far this season, and I didn't expect the Cowboys defense to look as good as it does. That scares me. I didn't expect the San Francisco 49ers to go out and get Christian McCaffrey. That scares me. I didn't expect the AFC to kind of be this AFC East juggernaut, kind of leading the way with Allen and the Bills, the Waddle Hill duo in Miami, the Jets playing hard-nosed football. I thought the Chargers would be better. I thought the Bengals would be better. I thought the Ravens would be better. And they're playing right now against the Saints. Probably will get the W tonight, and if not, then they're in some real trouble. But I think that there's still a lot of season left to be played to dictate what's legit and what's not. And this injury with Josh Allen is really the top story of whether or not the AFC East will look like the way everyone thought it would, with Buffalo at the top or Buffalo in the middle of the pack or at the bottom of the pack. However this story shakes out dictates what happens with the Buffalo Bills this season. And one thing I do know for sure is that if this injury does wreck the hopes of the Bills fans nationwide that want to see the Buffalo Bills win the Super Bowl this year, I do know that this team is built to last. This team is built to be legitimate for a long, long time. And they have the money invested in players long term that I think is in the right place. This Allen injury could be, if I'm being overzealous like people were saying I was, this is overzealous, saying that Josh Allen will never be the same, he's done, stick a fork in him. That's overzealous. I'm talking this season. I think Allen needs to be on a week-by-week basis, and he does need to be coddled with the finest of physical therapy that they can muster, because this guy is the hope and future of this team and is the reason why the team is where it is today. Only a hater would disagree with that, and there are haters out there. But you'd be lying to yourself if you said that this guy wasn't fun to watch on Sunday, Monday, or Thursday. You'd be lying to yourself if you said that this guy hasn't done everything that he could to make this team great again. You'd be lying if you said to yourself, this dude wasn't a damn warrior. I mean, he knew he was hurt, shaking off his arm. He's not coming out for the last pass of the game at 4th and 21. He's chucking it frickin' 60 yards down the field on a pass interference that was never called on Stephon Diggs. I'll say it. So, this is the longest show that I've done in quite some time. There was a lot to discuss tonight. This is a huge day for me in terms of getting it right, hitting the nail on the head, reaching out to somebody that I respect and that respects me and was willing to give me the information that I was looking for. And they gave it to me. And I put it out there. And I had people say that I was wrong and that I shouldn't post things without knowing all the information. Well, I will post whatever I so please to inform the people of the truth. I'm going to keep doing my thing. I'm going to keep talking. I'm going to keep reacting. I'm going to keep spitting facts as far as information goes on this team and as far as my opinion and relating my opinion to facts. The fact is, this guy does give this team the best chance to win. Josh Allen does give the Bills the best chance to win. But Josh Allen at 50%, we don't want that. We want Josh Allen at 100 so we can 100% guarantee that we have a fighting chance to win each and every Sunday, Monday, or Thursday that the Buffalo Bills are out on the field. Case Keenum, does he give the Bills the best chance to win? Not necessarily. This team is going to be looked at a lot differently over the course of the next few weeks. If, in fact, Case Keenum does start for the Buffalo Bills, it's run the frickin' football. Yes, I said it. Run the football for once in your lives. Make it happen. No 8 carries for Devin Singletary. Maybe, just maybe, this Josh Allen injury, if we want to look at it in terms of a blessing in disguise, maybe the heavens just opened up and will allow the Buffalo Bills to establish who the hell is the running back one of this team. Because I can't take this anymore in terms of, do I start Devin Singletary? Do I start James Cook? Do I start Nyheim Hines? I don't have them all on one fantasy team, but if I did, I would literally pull what's left of the hair that I do have on my head that is receding by the day, by the way, every single week. I can't do this anymore. I need to see a damn running back playing well for the Buffalo Bills each and every week. And don't give me this bullshit about the Bills not being a running team. You need to be able to run the football in November, in December, in Orchard Park, New York. If you can't do it at all, let alone against the good teams, you're screwed. You're screwed. They didn't trade for Nyheim Hines for nothing. Make it happen. Make it happen. If Case Keenum's out there, they're going to need to, because Case Keenum does not have the gun-slinging ways of Josh Allen. Let me tell you that. I know that for certain. You should too. So maybe that's the silver lining in this whole crazy day, November 7th, 2022, a day that will live in infamy for RT and the Thomas Take Sports Podcast. I really thought that this was my worst fear, and heading into the season, I even did a countdown show, and I feel so horrible for doing a countdown show basically saying what could stop the Buffalo Bills from winning the Super Bowl this year, and number one was Josh Allen getting hurt. I will never do that again. I didn't do that exactly, but it was an innuendo there on that. Man, just crazy. No Cam Newton. No Cam Newton. No. No. Sean Reeb and I agree on a lot of things, but Cam Newton ain't it. He ain't it. All right, guys and gals, I'm heading out. Really appreciate the support. Thanks for tuning in. This has been a hell of a day, a big day for the Thomas Take Sports Podcast. I really hope that, I'm not saying that people don't take me seriously. I think, 95% of the people out there take me seriously, and I really appreciate it. But there's a 5% that just is not willing to put themselves out there in the way that I am. And those are the people that will hate on what I do because they don't put themselves out there to anything. And I'm not saying that, I'm better than them because I do. Some people don't want to, and they don't have to. Not everybody is cut out for putting themselves out there, but don't just hate on what somebody's doing because they're willing to put themselves out there and you're not. That's negative. I don't like negativity. I don't like when people assume what I know and what I don't know. I know quite a lot more than what I lead on. And if you thought that I knew a lot or knew enough, just wait. Just stay patient. I'll continue to do what I'm doing. I'm not going anywhere. So if you guys want to say what you want to say what you want to say. Don't care. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to be around a long, long time. My genetics say so. The only issue that I have is if I'm in my 70s and I'm watching Bills football and they piss me off, the state-of-the-art TV, by that time, hopefully I'm retired from an awesome job in the sports industry that I can get this crazy TV that pans out of the wall and allows me to just push a button and I can just melt into the floor or something like that and watch a game overhead I'm joking around, but kind of not, actually. That'd be pretty sweet if you had a couch that would just melt you into the floor and then the TV would go up to the ceiling and you just lay back and watch the Bills. Might be onto something there. Turn fantasy into reality. Why not? I hate haters, but I love them at the same time. Haters, motivators, whatever you want to call them. I don't think I have many haters. I really don't. I honestly think that people see what I'm doing and they think that I'm not informed because I'm not affiliated with a major media outlet. If you guys think you need to be affiliated with a major media outlet in 2022 in order to be informed on something, you guys have been sleeping under a rock. Alrighty, that's all. That's all I gotta say. Alright, that's it. I really appreciate you guys tuning in. I really appreciate the support. I've had a lot of people along the way send me messages thanking me for posting the stuff that I post and thanking me for the stuff that I do. Those are the people that I really want to continue to just be an awesome influence of, information. Those are the people that I really enjoy, filling them in or just providing commentary, if you will, on what's taking place. Because I think it's important. It's important to have as many people using their voice as humanly possible. That's what I'm about. So thank you, Bills Mafia. Thank you to all those that support the show. I really appreciate it. Those that are in the comments saying, "Mic drop, you're doing a great job." It means a lot. I think that I know that I'm just doing my thing. This is what I do. It's what I've been doing for the last X amount of years, and I'm doing a lot of other things outside of this show in terms of putting my personality out there more in the radio business and things like that I've really enjoyed that too, and I got a lot of cool things in the works with that side of things that I'll be keeping everybody posted on by the end of the season. So starting a new season in 2023 that I'm really looking forward to. We're getting closer to the hour-long mark. I'm going to keep it there, end it there. And, yeah. Doug Clock says, "Keep up the good work, Ryan. Always enjoy your opinion and takes." I enjoy this very, very much. This is something that I started doing in 2016. And I would not be, me if I didn't do this. If I didn't have the idea one day to just make this a reality, I don't think I'd be the same person I am now. I really don't. Keenum did take the Vikings to an NFC Championship game. I think he helped them win 8 straight as a backup to Sam Bradford. So he has it in him. It's Jern Nean. Man, I would love that. Let's just say, Case Keenum pulling a Case Keenum Part 2. I would love that, but and I'm not saying Case Keenum sucks. I think I did say that I think Case Keenum's one of the best backups. I want to let that be known. I'm not hating on Case Keenum as the backup of the Bills really at all. I think he's one of the best backups the league has to offer. It's just that you never wanted to see this. You never wanted to see Josh Allen out for any reason. And to see it and to know that the injury is very serious. I mean, I've known people that have suffered this injury, and they're never the same. If, in fact, they have to have surgery on it. And it can be treated without surgery. It depends on the range of motion you'd like to achieve in the elbow. And Josh Allen would like to achieve the best range of motion humanly possible. But when something's injured, it's never the same again. That's almost the bittersweet nature of the human body, is that when you get hurt, that issue is never better. It's never as good as what it was. We're not meant to do these things. We're not meant to play these games. So anyone that can play these games at this high of a level, it's not sustainable, whether you're playing with the playing style of a Josh Allen or not. You're at that point where you only have that small window of opportunity to really make it a reality. Once that window closes, it's never opening back up again. Ken Zentel said, "Been along for the ride always." Said you had a face for radio. Wow. Hey, you know what? My lady would disagree. She would disagree. And, I like to think that I definitely got an attractive lady. So if I have a face for radio, then she doesn't think so. She says I got a voice. She says I got a face. It's good to know, that the lady finds me attractive, This is going so off the rails, man. What am I talking about? I will go news and notes around the NFL. News and notes around the NFL. Right now, as it stands, looking at this score of the Saints and the Ravens. What's Lamar doing out there? I love watching Lamar Jackson play, to be honest with you. He's one of the most exciting players that I've ever seen. Scores around the NFL. As it stands right now, I'm going to go with the Saints getting it done. I'm going to go with the Ravens getting it done 14-0 right now. Even prior to that, the Bills losing 17-20. We know that. The Eagles getting past the Texans 8-0, 29-17 on Thursday Night Football. The Chargers getting past the Falcons 20-17. Atlanta playing tough against those Chargers. The Chargers 5-3, still not the team that I thought they would be this year. The Dolphins 35-32, and this goes back to what I was talking about with the Dolphins, and the simple fact that the Dolphins have a great offense. Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, Raheem Mostert I like. Jeff Wilson Jr., who they got from San Fran, I like him too. I think the ceiling of Tua is higher with the supporting cast that he's got, but looking at just Tua's skill set, I don't quite know if he is as elite as Dolphins fans think he is. I'm still not convinced of that, because he is only doing it with the supporting cast he's got, and granted, I can't hate him for that. I'm not hating him for that. I think he's had a great year. He's in the MVP discussion, frankly, but I question Miami's loyalty. Where do their allegiances lie? They got a lot to prove in that category to Tua still, in my opinion. The Bengals 42-21 over the Carolina Panthers. P.J. Walker was abysmal. Baker Mayfield stepped in for P.J. Walker and played really well, proving my theory that Baker Mayfield is a career backup. The Green Bay Packers losing to the Detroit Lions. Aaron Rodgers is playing some of the worst football I've ever seen. The Packers are 3-6. The Lions moved to 2-6. The Packers, at this point, they've lost 5 straight. Their season's over. I don't see it turning around. Detroit is Detroitin'. The Jaguars beating the Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders falling apart in this one once again. The Jaguars winning 27-20. Trevor Lawrence leading the valiant comeback. Travis Etienne, I think right now, is one of the most exciting players in the NFL. He's a guy that I think anyone should have really believed in him for fantasy football this year, and I'm happy to say that one of those guys was me. The New England Patriots 26-3 over the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts did announce that former Buffalo Bills backup quarterback Frank Reich, former Buffalo Bills starting quarterback actually as well, time or two, Frank Reich in the greatest comeback game of all time, mind you. Frank Reich, now former head coach of the Indianapolis Colts. Really my take on this is that I feel that the Colts never really gave him the best opportunity to win. He walked into a situation that he thought was going to be one thing, and it turned out to be another. Granted, you got to win, you got to prove it. But Frank Reich walking into the Colts job that Josh McDaniels wouldn't take. A lot of people forget about that McDaniels basically said thanks but no thanks. He accepted, and then he said no. And Frank Reich was their number 2 guy. He was their backup option, literally. The pun intended on that one. But Frank Reich takes the job. Andrew Luck retires 2 months later. It was horrible. I felt bad for him that he had to retire that young, and I felt bad for Frank Reich that he had to then go to Jacoby Brissett, Phillip Rivers, Carson Wentz, Matt Ryan, all at the end of their careers, really, with the exception of Brissett as a backup in the league. And, I think Carson Wentz could be done. I think Matt Ryan's done. We know Phillip Rivers retired right after the game against Buffalo in the playoffs. Seahawks 31-21 over the Arizona Cardinals. Kenneth Walker III, what an amazing rookie campaign for him. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers 16-13, getting it done with the last 40 seconds of the game. Tom Brady in true GOAT fashion played a terrible game, but a great 40 seconds. That's all he needed. And then the Kansas City Chiefs winning against the Tennessee Titans. Tennessee and Malik Willis gave the Chiefs all they could handle. It was a close game. Defensively, Tennessee's looking better, looking like they were a couple years back. Especially, last season they might have been the number one seed or whatnot, but a couple years ago their defense was really good, and I feel like they might be hitting that stride defensively that they kind of couldn't find, for the first, 6-7 weeks of the season. So a lot to take in there this week. Teams on the bye: the Cleveland Browns, the New York Giants, Pittsburgh Steelers, Denver Broncos, as well as the Cowboys and 49ers. Next week, we have a lot to look forward to say the least, in Week 10. Not only are the Bills playing the Vikings, we won't know who's playing quarterback until probably Thursday or Friday, but that game is on Fox. It's at 1 o'clock. It's home in Orchard Park. You do have some awesome games as well that I think the one that I'm looking at the most would probably be the Cardinals and the Rams, as well as the Chargers and the 49ers. Cardinals-Rams is at 4:25 on Fox. Cardinals are 3-6. The Rams are 3-5. It's a divisional game between two teams that I thought would be much better record-wise than what they are, but I think the Cardinals can take that one. And then the Chargers and 49ers, my expectations for the Chargers were extremely high with Justin Herbert and company, and Austin Eckler and Mike Williams. Mike Williams out. He's been out the last couple weeks, and they've really been able to rally and find the right pieces. So there you have it. Those are the two games I'm looking forward to. That's my take on Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills and the injury stuff. And haters gonna hate. I'm out. Go Bills.